Let me check. Yeah, like nahi. Anand is now live. Yes, there we go. One minute. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back again to Analytics Anand. So today is the lecture number 29. As I promised you all, we'll be discussing the ER diagram in this session. Let me know my voice is loud and clear. Is my voice loud and clear? Yes, no. Let me know in the chat. One minute before I begin. Let me know in the chat. Yeah, it's loud and clear. Okay. Take care. No. Okay. Let's start. So welcome all. Welcome to Analytics Anand. So this is the lecture number 29 of your Master Blastering SQL on Snowflake. So today we will be talking about ER diagram, what ER diagram plays a crucial role in the data analyst journey, how you can simplify the process. You can have the big picture of your entire modeling of your entire table, which you will be working as a data analyst. The big picture, it's like a trailer, right? It's like a trailer of your entire tables in the database. That's we're gonna see it today. Okay, so let me straight go to the PPT which I have prepared for you all. Just give me 1 minute. I'll share this. Yes. Yes. You're able to see this, right? Correct? You're able to see? Yeah. Correct? You're able to see? Okay. So ER diagram. What does ER diagram stand for, by the way? Entity relationship diagram. ER diagram starts for entity relationship diagram. Why do we need this? We'll see that. Everything will cover in detail. Okay. So what is ER diagram? So ER diagram stands for entity relationship diagram, also known as ERD, right? It's a diagram that displays the relationship of entity sets stored in a database. So first question which comes into my mind, what is this entity? What do you understand by this word called entity? So I'll tell you that also further down the line. So in other words, ER diagram help to explain the logical structure of a database. ER diagrams are created based on three basic concepts: entities, attributes, and relationship. Right? Entities, attributes, and relationship. Three most important things which you have to keep this thing in mind. Now, I have told you in data analyst, whenever you are reading any rows in Excel are called records. Columns are called attributes, right? Columns are called attributes or features or field. Any columns which you read from any of these tables, that is called what? Attributes or fields or features. And rows are called what? Rows are called your records. Then what is entity and relationship? We'll see what is entity and relationship. Just hold on for the time being. Okay, so ER diagram contain different symbols that uses a rectangle to represent entities. So all your entities will be represented by your rectangle, ovals to define your attributes, and diamond shapes to represent relationship. This you have to remember. Yes, this you have to remember, right? While drawing a ER diagram, this you have to remember. ER diagram contain different symbols that uses rectangles to represent entities, ovals to define attributes, and diamond shape to represent relationship. Now, the first question which comes to my mind, who uses this ER diagram? What do you think? We as a data analyst will be using this ER diagram. Do we have to create this ER diagram, or ER diagram will be given by the consultant to us from the business consultant? What do you think? Does data analyst create this, or does this requirements comes directly from the consultant? How is it? What do you think? How it goes? Huh? Those who have joined live, I need answer from you all. Right? Who creates this ER diagram? ER diagram is created by the data analyst, or ER diagram is given by the client from the customer side. Who creates this? Data analyst creates this. Yes, it gives a big picture. Any project which you will be doing, any dashboard which you will be doing in Tableau or Power BI, you need to create ER diagram. There has to be ER diagram. One must create ER diagram. Right? You cannot escape this. ER model is required. Right? ER model is required. I'll show you how the ER model looks at Unilever, how the ER model looks at EXL and all. How in reality the ER model looks. Everything will cover in this detail. Right? So in this class, completely I'm talking about ER diagram. Okay? We'll be discussing about the ER diagram. Okay. Let's see what is next. Yeah. So ER diagram contains different symbols. I told you that uses rectangles to represent entities, ovals to define attributes, and diamond shapes to represent relationship. Now, this arrow in the previous class of Monday, I was telling you, I'll explain you this arrow. This arrow is very, very important, right? This arrow is very, very important. And the bifurcation, 3 arrows, which is pointing from the end, that is also very, very important. Like in this example, we can see apparel size, product colors, color, product category, how this entire table are interlinked between each other. How this entire table is interlinked between each other. Maybe apparel size can be a schema, product can be a schema, product category is a schema, category can be a schema, color can be schema, product color can be a schema. And then inside that, we have different column, and how this are integrated into each other, that we're gonna see. Now, your Power BI is super smart. Power BI by default, automatically, in most of the case, it creates the ER diagram for you. Right? And we'll see today how you can create ER diagram in MySQL and also in the Snowflake. Snowflake doesn't allow ER diagram. You'll get to the point in MySQL. So what is now ER model? ER model stands for your entity relationship model. It's a high-level conceptual data model diagram, which helps to systematically analyze data requirements to produce a well-designed database. So in order to design a database, this ER model is required. So ER model has 2 functionality. One is the use case from the data analyst point of view. One is the use case from the data engineer or database administration or database design. One who designs the database, for them, this ER model is really, really required so that they can design the data model. Right? When I'll be covering the normalization, then you will understand it much, much, much better. Okay, for the time being, understand it. This is really required for a database engineer, for a database design engineer to develop the entire table structure, how tables are interacting with each other, which are the primary key, which are the foreign key, which are linking these tables or schemas. Okay, so that's why this has a major role. So it represents real world entities and the relationship between them. Creating an ER model in DBMS is considered as a best practice before implementing your database. And being a data analyst also, you will have to create this. If any time further down the line, if you are working on any of your Power BI dashboard or your Tableau dashboard, you need to create this. You have to create this. Your manager or the stakeholders or the client for which you are working, they will ask you now and here. Even if they don't ask, you have to create this, right? How your tables are interacting, right? When I joined this Unilever, initially my manager told me, right, where is the ER model for this dashboard, right? Everyone will need this. How my data are flowing into each other. So for that, very, very important ER model is required. It's like a flow chart, right? It helps to analyze data requirements systematically to produce a well-designed database, right? So this is considered as a best practice to complete ER modeling before implementing your database. Database design engineer will have a wide use of it. Also, as a data analyst, we also use while working as a data analyst, because we'll be working on this one, a Power BI model. And I'll show you in this class how you can create easily in MySQL. Okay, so let's talk about one history of ER model. So ER models is a visual tool that are helpful to represent the ER model. Peter Chan proposed ER diagram in 1971 to create a uniform convention that can be used. So it's like a uniform convention throughout the world so that everyone can be on the same page, right? For relational database and networking, he aimed to use an ER model as a conceptual modeling approach. So it's a concept, right? It's a concept where we are showcasing how the data are talking, data in different tables are talking to each other, right? How your data in different tables are talking to each other. What is the means? What is the linkage? What is the path which connect this to the different tables? Okay, so why do you use ER diagram? So it helps you to define terms related to entity relationship modeling. Next, it provides a preview of how all your tables should connect and what fields are going to be on each table. Very, very important point. Second point, it tells you how all your tables should connect and what are the fields which you are going to be on each table. It helps to describe entities, attributes, and relationship. I'll talk about entities. Just hold on till then. Okay, so it's so ER diagram are translatable into relational table, which allows you to build database quickly. You'll have I mean, once the ER diagram is given to you, you can tell, okay, this is the primary key I have to take. This is the table I have to create. This is the schemas I need to create, right? Every table will have a primary key. Of course, whenever you are working in any big company, every table will have a primary key, and how these tables I'm going to join, what could be the foreign key, what could be the primary key. That's why your Monday class, I talked about facts and dimension table, because facts and dimension table stands a basis for this, your ER diagram. Okay, for this ER diagram. So it can be used by a database designer as a blueprint for implementing data in specific software application. Okay, next, let's see. So database designer gains a better understanding of the information to be contained in the database with the help of an ERP diagram. Okay, ERD diagram allows you to communicate the logical structure of the database to user. Logical, big picture, like a blueprint. Like whenever you go to purchase any flat, like 1 BHK, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, these big builders, right? Prestige Shantiniketan, or you say Brigade, or any big builder, right? Hiranandani and all this. So they'll have a blueprint, no? When you go to visit their plot, right? It will be a blueprint. How my tower gonna look? Where will be the swimming pool area? Where will be my gym area? Where will be my theater area? All these things they give you. What is that? That is nothing but a ER diagram. In the reality, that is nothing but a ER diagram. Who has designed that? Civil engineer, right? Or architect. Mostly architect will be designing that in the civil engineering line further, if I talk about. So in the same case here, who will design? Database design engineer designed it. But we as a data analyst also do this. No, I'm not on a mute. Is my voice not audible? Mohan, I'm not on a mute. Am I loud and clear? Can you hear me, guys? Mohan, check your check your audio. Okay, next, what I was telling is this. Yeah. So facts about ER diagram models, it allows you to draw database design, right? The next, it is an easy to use graphical tool for modeling data, widely used in database design, and it is a GUI graphical user interface representation of the logical structure of a database. So it's like a blueprint of your entire database. What are the tables you are having, how these tables are interacting between each other, everything is there, right? It helps you to identify the entities which exist in a system and the relationship between those entities. You have seen Snowflake clearly, how Snowflake it is organized. First warehouse is there, then database is there, then you have a informational schema is there, then public schema is there, and inside each schema you have views. Inside views you will have a table. So this is the structure, how your warehouse and database has to design, right? So what are the components? Components, I have to tell you, three basic component: entities, attributes, and relationship. Now let's talk into great detail. What are entities, what are attributes, and what are relationship? Let's see this example. For example, in a university database, we might have entities for students, courses, and lecturers. Student entities can have attributes like roll number, name, and department ID. They might have relationship with courses and lecturers. So what exactly is an entity? What exactly is an entity? So entity is a person, place, object, event, or concept about which data is to be maintained. It can be a table also. Entity can be a table also. Your card table, your student table, your transaction table, your campaign table, right? You can talk about it. Can be a person, it can be a place, it can be an object, it can be event or a concept about which data is to be maintained. Jahan hum data store karenge. So guys, what is this entity? Is it a fact or dimension table? It can be both. Dimension table also contains data, fact table also contains data, right? So entity is nothing but, in louder picture, it's a table which we are talking about. Then what are the attributes? Same attribute are called the columns or the fields which are taking part in a table. Like for example, a customer table will have a customer ID, customer first name, customer last name, customer address, customer phone number, PIN code, etc., etc. Right? So it defines the property or characteristics of an entity. Color of a car is an entity. Name of the student is an entity. Model of a car is an entity. Then comes the relation. What are the relationship between these two? Association between the instance of one or more entity type. Like blue car belongs to student Jack. Like you have different type of car, sedan, hatchback, SUV, right? Same way. So what are the association between the instance? Blue car belongs to student Jack. Which course is purchased by which students? Which customer has done which transaction? Which customer has purchased which product? So all this association which you are establishing a relationship will help you in establishing the ER diagram. So ER diagram is built on three important concepts. One is entity, second one is attributes, third one is the relation. Third one is the relation. What is entity? So entity is a real world thing, either living or non-living, that is easily recognizable and non-recognizable. It is anything in the enterprise that is to be presented in our database, right? I told you it can be a table, it can be a schemas also. So it may be a physical thing or simply a fact. Fact table can also exist about the enterprise or an event that happens in the real world. An entity can be a place, person, object, event, concept that stores data. It has, the data has to be there, right? So that's why it's a very important table. Basically, layman terminology, entity is nothing but a table. Okay, then what about the relationship? Relationship, we all know one-to-one. I have already taught you inner join, one-to-many, left outer join, many-to-one, right outer join, many-to-many, full outer join. Already this has been covered on Monday class. So this is nothing but the relationship which I'm establishing between entities, between two different entities. Okay, between two different, like Tom works in the chemistry department. Tom works in the chemistry department. Okay, association between two or more entities. Now there are two types of entities, weak entities and strong entities. So weak entities is a type of entity that does not have its key attribute, primary key, right? Does not have its key attribute. It can be identified uniquely by considering the primary key of another entity. It doesn't have its own primary key, but it can be identified uniquely by considering the primary key of another entity. For that, weak entity sets needs to have participation. Like this example, ATM ID, address, time. So it has got very weak relation with the transaction number, amount, and type. So with the transaction ID, you can identify, how you'll identify which ATM the user has done transaction, right? Every ATM will have an ATM ID, unique ID. And if the user is doing any transaction, so that will have a transaction ID, transaction amount, whether it's from the savings account or from a current account, right? Okay. Now next comes the attributes. Attributes, I've told you, attributes nothing but your columns. Columns in a table. It's a single valued property of either an entity type or relationship type. A lecturer might have attributes: time, date, duration, place. Customer might have as I have told you, attributes as customer ID, phone number, PIN code, city, state. Transaction table will have attributes as transaction ID, place, time, right, amount, and the charges which customer has to pay, medium, right? Whether it's a retail transaction or digital transaction, whether the customer has done transaction through phone or through web or through in the POS machine, swipe machine, all these things will go under the attributes. So an attributes in ER diagram example is represented by ellipse. How you will represent? Ellipse. You see, no? Transaction number, amount, type, these will all be represented by an ellipse. Okay. Ellipse is like an oval. Okay. Oval. Next, cardinality. This I was talking on Monday. This I was talking on Monday class. So it defines the numerical attributes of the relationship between two entities or entity sets, right? So different types of, what are the different types of cardinal relationship? One to one, one to many to one, and many to many, right? One to one to many, and many to one. Now, here is a very important catch to hold on. 1 second, let me turn on my mouse. Here's a very important catch to hold on. What do you mean by this? Right? Sometimes you will find only one like this. Sometimes you will find circle with this. What does this mean? This is very, very important for you to understand. Until unless you understand this, you won't be able to understand the ER diagram. Right? Mandatory one. I'll talk about an example of all. Mandatory one. This indicate mandatory and this indicate one. Mandatory one. Right? Then there is a mandatory many. One customer can have many transactions. One customer can have many transactions, but at least that customer will do at least one transaction. So mandatory many. So mandatory many, nothing but is like this. The single pipe stands for mandatory. Single pipe stands for mandatory. Okay. Then what is the circle then? Circle means optional. How do you remember? Optional. O has a word. O has a letter in the optional, right? O is the letter in the optional. Same here, circle is there. Optional one. Optional one, right? Optional one. Like in the university, there are many optional courses, right? Student may choose, student may not choose. Student may choose, student may not choose. Optional many. Students are given a wide variety of optional. Student has given a wide variety of optional. I can take, like I am doing my MTech. So I have given 3 optional and I have to choose only one out of them. So optional many. So this you have to understand very, very carefully. Mandatory one, mandatory many, optional one, and optional many. Until unless you won't be able to, until unless you understand this, you won't be able to decipher the ER diagram, right? You won't be able to decipher the ER diagram, because many a time if you join any new organization, right? So ER diagram will be given to you. Maybe someone has created it. So no one gonna explain you that. You need to understand it, right? You need to understand on your own how does ER diagram look like. That's why I'm discussing this class. See this, right? Now, what does this line indicate? Solid line, mandatory relationship, mandatory. Okay, mandatory relationship. Dotted line, optional relationship. Dotted line, optional relationship. One-to-one, mandatory relationship, one-to-one. Solid line means one-to-one mandatory relationship. Inner join, simple case. That's all. Inner join, which I keep talking about in my join class. Inner join, right? One to many, left outer join, one to many. See, mandatory I have not said. I said one to many. I never said mandatory. If mandatory is there, one pipe will come here, right? One pipe will come here. Many to many. I didn't say mandatory many to many. Many to many. If this was the case, then it will be mandatory many to mandatory many. Okay, I'm saying many to many. Like company, name, industry. And how do you represent this? I have to given you in the Power BI. How do you represent many? Many is represented by star. How do you represent many? Many is represented by star. In the Power BI report, I have clearly shown you. Many. Okay. This is like a union. Very good point, Tej. This is like a union, right? Union all also we can say, because union will give you the districts. Union all will give you the duplicates also. So union all. So this is clear, because this was the most important thing which you need to understand this. Next, let's talk about student and a course, one-to-one. So one entity from entity set X can be associated with at most one entity of entity set Y and vice versa. So for example, one student can register for numerous courses. However, all those courses have a single line back to one student. At least one course will be enrolled by any student. Do you understand? One student can register for numerous courses. However, all those courses have a single line back to that one student, because course is also pointing to the student, right? Mandatory one. What is this? Because at least all the courses will have at least one mandatory student. Koi na koi to lega hai na. Koi to ek student hoga which they will take it, right? At least one student will be there. Next, let's see. What is this one to many? Yes, one entity from entity set X being associated with multiple of entity of set Y. For example, multiple students can correspond to the same class. Multiple transactions on Swiggy and Zomato can happen at the same time. Multiple transactions in HDFC or ICICI Bank can happen at the same time, right? Correct. Not by a single customer. I'm talking about different customer. Different customer can do the same transaction. One class is consisting of multiple students. So one to many. Mandatory, one to many. Mandatory, one to many. Next comes your many to one. More than one entity from entity set X can be associated with at most one entity of entity set Y. However, an entity from entity set Y may or may not be associated with more than one entity from set X. What does it mean? Many students belongs to the same class, but one class cannot, but one student cannot belongs to many class, right? Many students belongs to the same class, but one student cannot belongs to many class. That's what it says. Okay, that's what's it said. Mandatory, one student can belongs to any one of the class, but many students belongs to the same class. Okay, so these are all the relationship which I've already covered in my Monday class. Many to many, simple. Student as a groups are associated with multiple faculty members, and faculty members can be associated with multiple students. That's what happened in the college, right? That's what happened in the college. Student as a group are associated with multiple faculty members, and faculty members can be associated with multiple students. So these are all the example of one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-one. Right? Now let's talk about how do we create ER diagram in MySQL. Snowflake doesn't support ER diagram. There is a third-party library which you need to add it for enabling it in the Snowflake. First, let me teach you with the MySQL how you can enable the ER diagram. Right? So this is the table. So this is the table bytestore.sql. Let me show you the ER diagram, how it will look. 1 minute. Let me show you the ER diagram. This is how it will look. In my self-joined class, I have discussed with you. Yes. So you should be able to read this. You should be able to read this on your own. What exactly does indicate? This will be given to you. This will be given to you. So we have two schemas here, sales and production. Two schemas we have, sales and production. So inside sales, how many tables you see? I see customer table, staff table, order table, store table, order items table, right? And in the production table, in the production schema, I say 4 table: category, products, stocks, and brands. Now, these symbols will be really easy for you to understand, right? There can be a mapping within itself. There can be a mapping within itself. Like you can see it here. There can be a mapping within itself. There can be a mapping within itself, right? What does it mean? Staff can also be a manager, right? Manager is also a staff, right? Many staff, multiple staff reports to one manager, right? In the IT sector, it happens. Like I report to my manager, other people also report to the same manager. Some 8 people or 10 people can report to the same manager. That's why it is saying, right? Okay. Many optional, one optional, it says circle stand for optional. Many staffs can report to optional manager, whether he or she can be a manager or cannot be a manager. That's why there's a linkage within a table also. There's a linkage between table also. Customer to order. One customer can have multiple order, may or may not. This is the optional. Circle stands for optional, right? Circle stands for optional. But multiple orders, but one of them orders will belongs to definitely at least one customer. If I'm seeing any order ID, definitely that will belong to the one customer. That's why you see this line. This line is very, very important. This line is very, very important. Same stores and stocks. Stores and stocks. Stores will have your store ID. What does this star indicate? Here star indicates primary key. I have told you star also means many. But here in this case, many times in the ER diagram, you will find this PK and you will find this FK written there. Okay, FK written there. How does it look? Let me show you that also. Let me show you that also. 1 minute. How does it look? I'll show you. This is how does it looks. This I'm showing you straight from the Unilever, right? Correct. This I have designed. How different tables are interacting with each other. This is how you need to create it, right? This is how you need to create it. How different tables are interacting with each other. How different tables are interacting with each other. That's how you have to develop it. So you'll be operating. All these are tables. All these are tables, which you are seeing it here right away. All these are tables. Okay. All these are tables, right? All these are tables. So in the similar way, you will be given this, or you need to design it. Let me talk about this. Let me talk about the process, how we're going to do it before I take you straight away in that. Yes. So let's talk about how do you create the ER diagram. So first you need to create two. First, you need to create a database. Let's talk about the database as bike store. Let's talk about the backup database at bike store. Then you have to create a database called sales and production. Okay, sales and production. I have created this already. Let me show you. This is the ER diagram. I'll show you how you can create it. So this is the table, guys. This is a very good table for all of you to practice your SQL. You can master your SQL concept on this table, right? So what I'm doing, I'm creating a database called bike store. I'm creating a database called bike store. Then I'm dropping this table because it may exist, it may not exist. So I'm creating database called bike store. Then I'm creating a command use bike store. Then I'm creating two schemas, production and sales. Why do we create a schemas? Because we follow chronological order. We follow a hierarchical order. How you can create? First, the database will come, then schemas will come, then views will come, then table will come. Inside this production, I am creating a category called category ID and category name. I have given an auto increment. Auto increment means automatically ID will get incremented by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm setting this as a primary key. Then category name I have given as a varchar. Next, same, I have a brand ID. How do I know brand ID is a primary key? From the ER diagram. But sir, you said ER diagram. So we created. Sometimes you might be given ER diagram. Sometimes you need to create the ER diagram. How you'll create the ER diagram? By looking at the tables, by looking at the columns, by looking at the type of data it has, right? Type of data it has. As you can see it here, brand ID was the primary key here, right? Brand ID was the primary key. Brand. Where's the brand? Yeah, brand ID is the primary key. Star, right? Star. Sometimes PK is also written, star is also written, FK is also written, right? So all these things, let me go back. In MySQL, yes. So production table has products in the production, product is inside the production schema, product ID, name, brand ID, category, model year, list price, right? And here we have the foreign key. Foreign key concepts already I have covered. So here we have the foreign key and all this. Right? What are the foreign key? Category ID and brand ID, which maps to brand ID and category ID. You all know this. I am not going into much detail, right? Just go through this code. I will share with you all. Then we have a sales customer, stores customer, staff from the sales and sales order. And we have order items, sales order items. From production, we have a stocks, which has a primary key, foreign key also, right? I have already told you what are facts and dimension table in this, right? So this is the table. And then I'm inserting all the records. All the records I'm inserting it here, right? Once we have a record, once this table is here, click on refresh. Click on refresh. What are the steps? I'll read it for you. What are the steps? First, you have to click on database from the ribbon and then select reverse engineer. Database from the ribbon. Where's the database? Database is here. Select the database from the ribbon. Select reverse engineer. Select reverse engineer. You don't have to do nothing here. You don't have to do nothing here. Already username is given. Password I have already stored in my vault. Right? So I don't have to input it. Port number is 3306. This automatically takes it. Host name is the local host. I'm running it. And this automatically, you need to click on next. You click on next. Some checks will be done. Connect to DBMS and fetch information. So connection has been established successfully. Then you need to click on next. Here is the important point. What are the schemas you want to include? What are the schemas you want to include? Right? So I want to include my production, sales, and what are the schemas I have? If I see here, sales and 1 second. I have sales and 1 second. Let me check what are the tables I'm having. Let me refresh this. Okay. So I'm having bikes. I think I deleted it or what? Let me check. I should not delete this. I think, let me see if this table exists or not. If the table doesn't exist, you won't be able to create it. Table should be there. I didn't delete it, I guess. No, table is there. All the tables are there. I thought I deleted it because many times I run this code, no? So there might be a chances that I might have deleted it. Okay. No. Okay. Bike store is there. Okay. But why don't I see the table here? Bike store joins production. Okay, it's there. Production is there and sales is there. Okay. Yeah. Now in your MySQL, your database and schemas both are same. In Snowflake, your database and schemas are different. So make sure you're aware of this. So database, go to the database, go to the reverse engine, click on next and select. What are the table we have? Production and sales. What are the schemas I'm selecting? Production and scheme. You need to select the schemas as written clearly. Don't select the table. Select the schemas because inside the schemas, we are having the table. Inside the schemas, we are having the table. So I've selected sales and production. Click on next. Now see the magic. Retrieval completed successfully. Click on next. 9 total objects. Why 9 total objects? Because 2 schemas are there, 5 tables are in one schema, sales schema, and 4 tables are in another schema. So 5 plus 9. And click on this, place imported objects on a diagram. Make sure you check this. Make sure you check on this. Place important objects on a diagram. Place important objects on a diagram. Click on execute. And here your ER diagram is ready. Here your ER diagram is ready. Very beautifully crafted here in, and you can click on this and you can see the description also. Everything is crystal clear mentioned here. 1-to-1, 1-to-n, 1-to-1, 1-to-n, n-to-m, and n-to-m. Everything is mentioned here. What exactly does this mean? Right? Place a new 1-to-1 non-identifying relationship. Right? Everything. 1-to-n, many-to-many, and you can, they will highlight it also. Where and all, how it is connected, it will highlight. Customer ID, customer ID. See this. Category ID, category ID. Automatically. Store ID, manager ID, store ID. Brand ID. Automatically. I didn't give any instruction to MySQL. I didn't give any instruction to MySQL. Automatically, it was getting generated. So this is how you create the ER diagram in MySQL. Now, how you will be creating in Snowflake? Snowflake, there's a third-party app. See, if you Google it straight away, how to create ER diagram in Snowflake, you won't be able to create it. You won't be able to create it. The reason Snowflake doesn't afford. Snowflake doesn't uses a third party, right? Snowflake uses a third party, doesn't have an inbuilt feature. It doesn't have an inbuilt feature to create a ER diagram. So you need to connect to the third party app for displaying the ER diagram here, right? You need to connect to the third party app to go to the for generation of the ER diagram, which I'll show you. Which are the third party apps? See, DB Weaver is the one app. DB Weaver is the one app where you can connect it, where you can connect to the Snowflake and then you can generate the ER diagram. Then Data-IDO is there, DB schema is there, SQL DB is there. But one question which comes into my, sir, if my company is not using MySQL, then in that case, what should I do? Then company, then you cannot create the ER diagram. Then manually you need to create it in Snowflake. Maybe your company will have a third-party integration. Definitely any company, if they use Snowflake, they will have a third-party app and you need to connect it, right? This is a free app. This is the paid one because company will definitely go for the paid one. And then using that help, you can create it. Okay, I can show you that also. Let me see if DB Weaver is there. Yeah, this is the DB Weaver. This is the DB Weaver is there. Let me open this. I'll show you how does it look. It is getting open. Yeah. So this is how it is. Okay. Later on, close. So this is how it looks. Yeah, I have generated here. But here, the ER diagram which we are getting is not proper. ER diagram which we are getting is incomplete. Maybe because of this free version. Maybe because of the free version. Right? Third party app may create a privacy. No, Nitish, third party may not create a privacy. The reason why, because the company will have an integrated with them. Okay. Company should have an integration with them only. This is the free version. That's why. This is the free version. That's why it is. Yeah. Now, how you will connect with the MySQL? You just need to click on the database, click on the connect, click on the connect. A pop-up will come up. 1 second, I'll show you. New database connection. Here it will come. And here you need to search for Snowflake. If you can't find it in the all, just type the word Snowflake. Snowflake. Yeah. Just click on this. Yes. Here you need to give the host name. What is the host name? Anything before snowflakecomputing.com. Anything before the snowflakecomputing.com is the host name. I'll show you. Let me see. My trial account has expired. I don't know if I will be able to show you or not, but still I will try. Still I will try. Let me see. I'm using Satyam's one. He's there. So I'll show you guys how you can create it. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So what is this one? This is the name. Anything before the snowflake.computing.com, you need to copy this and you need to paste it here. You need to paste it here. Right? You need to paste it here. Okay. You need to paste it here. Click on test connection. Once you paste it, don't enter the database. Click on test connection and see missing username. Yes, this should come. Missing username, because username I have not specified it. So Satyam, what is the username for his? Let me check. I have his credential details. So I'll input that. 1 minute. Let me input his credential details. Username. Because my got expired, that's why I have to take his. And I need to click on password. Then click on test connection. Bingo, connected. Got it? So connection is successful. What you need to do, you just need to paste host name as snowflake.computing.com. Anything before that. Don't give HTTPS. Don't give HTTPS. Okay. Don't give HTTPS. Getting my point? So connection successful. Okay. You can specify the database name. Automatically it will come up. Automatically it will come up. If I click on bike store, what is the warehouse? What is the warehouse? I think he has used the data warehouse. Let me check once. Automatically it will come. Okay, automatically it will come. Clear? Automatically it will come. Data is only there. So click on that, click on data. Schema also you can select whatever the schema you want. I'm not selecting for the time being. I'm just clicking on finish. See, it got connected, right? Bike store. Bike store got connected, right? Sales, production, Foodify, all the whatever he has written the table, everything came here. Everything came here. Right? Everything came here. Production, right? I can view the database. I can view everything. Right? All the information will view. You can give the informational schema and you can view the diagram also for the informational schema. Okay. You can view the informational schema diagram also. This will give you in great detail. This will give you the detail of the diagram. See this. All the informational schema you are getting it. So you should know this, guys, especially to fresher and non-tech. When you'll be working in any company, you should be able to know this. Okay, you should be able to know this. Production tables, what are the tables you are using it, brand categories, and you can see the diagram also. Just click on the right click and view diagram, and it will show you. But it is not giving a proper linkage. You will say, sir, where is the linkage? Linkage is not happening because maybe it's a free version. It's not reading the Snowflake data very, very properly. That's why I tell you, MySQL gives the best output. MySQL gives the best output in this case. MySQL gives the complete picture with lines, with tables, and everything. Okay? Clear? Is it clear? Both way I have shown you. Both way I've shown you. In this also, it looks like no difference between schema and BD similar to MySQL. Yes, yes. It's like a MySQL. Only there's a difference in in Snowflake. Right? This also behaves the same in MySQL. Okay. Maybe in the paid version, which I was talking about, maybe in the paid version, things might be there. Okay. Maybe in the paid version, you might see. These are the paid version. Data ADO, DB schemas, and SQL DBM. These are the paid version. These are the paid version, which you can try, but you need to pay for this. Because Snowflake UI doesn't offer a built-in feature to generate entity relationship diagram. Okay, that you can generate using third-party apps. You can do using third. Can we establish linkage manually in DB Weaver? Yes, that you can do it. Manually, of course, you can do it. Manually, of course, you can do it. Yeah, manually you can do it. Yeah, there are ways online tool which helps you to generate the ER diagram. Suppose if you want not able to do, suppose if you are not able to do the ER diagram, there are many ER diagram tool. ER diagram tool. Suppose MySQL company doesn't have, right? Online ER diagram maker. See this, Lucid chart. So there are many such things. Make an ERD. See this, make an ERD. Simple. If the company is telling you to make an ERD, you can have this pre-plan. Right? On the internet, you can go and just you can create this. Automatically lines and everything they will give you. Right? You can't say that this Snowflake doesn't support. So what? There are so many tools. Online tool is there, no? So which you can use it, right? Which you can use it and you can generate an ER diagram. Just try this. This I'm giving a task for you. If you're able to generate ER diagram here, just comment in the comment section. Okay. I need to create this account and all. So you can try it here. Manually, you can create it. All those dotted line will come. Everything will come. One to one, one to many. Okay. I'll give you one data and then you can create it. Okay. So this was the step. I'll share this PPT also, which you can follow one by one, and then you'll be able to generate. That's all. from ER diagram from my side. Is it clear? Very easy topic, easy to understand why it is used, because your consultant and your stakeholders will gonna ask you this ER diagram. Whenever you are creating a Power BI project, whenever you are working on the dashboard thing, see, this is the modeling, right? So you need to have a blueprint of this entire model. You cannot copy paste this directly. No, you need to create an ER diagram. If you cannot create it in MySQL, if you cannot create it in the Snowflake, go to the online and generate it. Go to the online generated. Recently, I have generated. I'll show you for the company. Where it went. Let me show you where I have generated. This though I have shown you, but one more file was there. SQL ER diagram. See, another ER diagram is this, like this, generated on. Write the word primary key, foreign key, primary key, foreign key, primary key, foreign key. Give the dotted line and then generate it accordingly. Right? This I generated. This I generated it. Online tool, using online tool. Simple online tool. Automatically you'll get this line. Don't try to do this in Microsoft Word or PowerPoint. No, it won't. You will be able to do. Do it in any online tool. Do it in any online tool. Do it in any online tool. Okay? Do it in any online tool. Clear? Do it in any online tool. So this was all about the ER diagram. I hope it is clear, right? If any doubt, you should not be having doubt. Just create a table, create a database, create a schemas, and directly start working on generating the ER diagram. I'll share the steps, right? Okay. Yeah. Just do that. That's all from my side. Okay. Now, next class, whichever day it happens, maybe tomorrow or day after, I'll keep you posted. So that's why do subscribe to this channel if you have not done so far. And next class, we'll discuss about normalization. Next class, we're going to discuss about normalization. Very, very hot favorite concept. Why I'm doing all these topics at the end? Reason, I should have started this topic at the beginning, but it doesn't make sense for me, because unless you have an understanding of joins, I cannot do this ER diagram. How you'll understand what is one-to-one? You'll ask what is one-to-many. That's why I have kept this at the end. Okay. Clear? Snehal Raj, you can connect with me later on. I'll tell you. Just click on update and you'll be able to do that. Okay, guys. See you then. Bye-bye. Take care and good night. Thanks for joining in. So any doubt in any of the video, feel free to comment then and there. Okay. Now, yeah, this normalization will be left. Then I'll talk about the stored procedure. Many things are still there in the Snowflake. As I promised you, within 40 lectures, I'll cover this Snowflake, entire SQL series, right? So let's see. Yeah. Let's see. I think by 10th March, SQL should get over. Before that only. Complete Snowflake and SQL should get over. Okay. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.